Sawadee-ka. We have May the 15th. The world pins no medals on you because of what you know, but it may crown you with glory and riches for what you do. And who doesn't want glory and riches, really, honestly? Okay. Knowledge is an important component of success in any field. To accomplish anything worthwhile often requires years of study. But knowledge alone is not power. It becomes powerful only when it is applied through positive action. There you go. So we've been talking a long time about the two-step thing. Plan, learn, really three-step thing, my bad. Plan, learn what you need to execute your plan, and then execute your plan, action, right? So, yeah, 3 steps. Study after study of successful people reveals that I know there's more today because it changes. Anyway, they have a bias for action. They gather the appropriate facts, relate them to their knowledge about the subject, develop an implementation plan, and then get into action. When in doubt, it's far better to act too soon rather than too late. So what he just described there was due diligence, right? About gather the appropriate facts, relate them to the knowledge you already have, which we just do naturally. That's how humans think, is we go into our computer, our knowledge base inside our head of all our experiences over the years and stuff like that to make a decision. That's where our judgment comes from, basically. Develop an implementation plan and then get into action. When in doubt, it's far better to act too soon rather than too late. This is true, especially in this market. And even back when I was flipping, there was one wholesaler in particular, Bob Sargent. Those of you know him in Jacksonville know he's a great guy. Just an awesome fucking dude. Stand-up guy, easy to do business with, keeps his word, all the things you want. Good stuff, good guy, good people. And he's pretty active in the community. He used to teach at Jack's RIA way back in the day. That's how I first met him. It was in Jack's RIA. The one where the little old lady, wants your money. And, obviously he left there like all the other experienced people did because, when she turned it into a money grab, it really wasn't worth pursuing anymore. But anyway, I established a relationship with him years later. And, hell, he was a private lender on one of my biggest deals. And more importantly, I bought, 5 or 6 houses from him. Maybe more, maybe 8 or 10. I had to go back and look, think about it. But, once again, good guy, integrity, good to his word. And he would put out to his VIP buyers, which is simply buyers who had bought from him before, because he knows they performed. So when you're a wholesaler, your main concern is the person's going to be able to close on the deal, right? And with VIP buyers, with people who had bought from Bob before, he knew they would perform because they did perform. Now, could something go wrong this time and the money hold up, this, that, the other thing? Sure, shit happens, especially in real estate. But he had a reasonable expectation that these people, including myself, would perform. And on the first house, I just, whatever. I got it through the normal distribution channels. I think I actually hit him up at a meeting, at one of those networking meetings, and this is another reason you guys need to go to these things like Yellowbird, Connect, when they have the meetings. You go to these meetings and you go up to wholesalers that you know or you don't know, and you say, hey, you got any houses coming up? I'm looking for a house. That simple. It's not, don't be scared. It's like asking somebody to dance or something like that. If you don't ask, it's not going to happen. So you got to ask. So I think I walked up to Bob at a meeting and once again knew him, quote unquote. We knew each other. We were acquaintances at best, from RIA years before. And hey, do you have any houses? I'm looking for houses to flip. Yeah, I got one over on the west side or whatever. And I got in there, before it hit the market. Once I bought that first house from him and flipped it, made money, of course, did my thing, and now I'm looking for more. But now, now I'm on his VIP list. So He had developed over the years, he's an investor for a long time, and he had developed a list of over 9,000 buyers. Now that's everybody who can fog a mirror, who has said to him at some point, I want to buy houses. Well, sure you do. Have you actually bought one? Well, more than half of them, the answer is no, if they're being honest. But they want to buy houses, right? Well, entrepreneurs, we talk about them all the time. So before he sent out his new house that he, got under contract and he's trying to sell to 9,000 buyers via email, he would first text his VIP buyers, his return buyers, people he knows and he's done business with, and give them first shot. And most times, he told me later, he would sell the property that way, through text to his VIP buyers, experienced buyers, his past transaction buyers, right? He actually sold most of his deals, if not all, through that conduit. And I was sitting at a meeting at a real estate meetup group. I think it was REIF before I took it over, when it was still Deb Bracknell's meeting. I was in the Ramada Inn. I was sitting out in the hallway, and I got a text from Bob, house in 32211, which is like Arlington area code. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which is important because you sell 2 bathrooms faster than you sell a 1-bathroom, that's for sure. And you sell 3-bedroom faster than you sell a 2-bedroom. That's a fact. Doesn't mean you can't sell those others. It just takes longer. So 3-2, a good part of 3211, not the ghetto part, not the shady part, but a good part. I was familiar with the area, and I don't even remember the price. I don't remember the address. I'm sorry. It was years ago. And I jumped on it. I hadn't looked at the house. I hadn't done comps. I was sitting in a hallway in a hotel room waiting for a meeting to start. And I said, yep, I'll buy it. And based on that, he shut it down. He didn't get to, the way he said it was he did it alphabetically. Like A to H was the first round of group texts. I guess he was limited to how many texts he could send on his phone. Last name is Brady with a B. I was in that first group of A to H's, and I'm also an asshole, so I belong in the A to H group, but I'm bummed. Thank you very much. But because I was lucky, alphabetically, and I got in the first wave, I said yes right away. He never even sent out the I through M's or whatever. Like he told me later, the Z's were pissed off because they never even got the text. So it's one thing to be a repeat buyer and be on the VIP list, but because he did it alphabetically, I was at the head of the VIP list, only because of the alphabet, not because I'd bought that many houses from him or anything like that. The VIP list was the VIP list, period. But fortunately for me, I have an early letter, and I got to buy that thing before anybody else, and I hadn't looked at it. I hadn't done anything. Now here's the deal. If I went and looked at the house the next day, and it was an absolute piece of crap, I would have said, okay, buddy, it needs this, it needs that, it needs that. Either I don't want to buy it, go ahead and put it back out to your list, which he could do easily enough and sell it in a couple of days, if not a day, or I need to buy it at this price because it needs that, that, and that. And he might say, oh, I didn't know it needed a roof, or I didn't know it needs a new panel, or I didn't know there was aluminum wiring in it, or whatever. Once again, straight up guy. He wasn't shady. He wasn't messing around. But it turned out to be one of the easiest flips I've ever done, which kind of started me on my patented, no, I haven't patented, lipstick on a pig. There's a concept called wholetailing, where you buy cheap, fix cheap, not everything, just the major stuff that is not easy enough for a homeowner to do, and sell cheap. And I did that with this house. Because it didn't need that much. I think it was literally a paint and carpet deal, which is kind of what every flipper's looking for. Rather than go through a contractor and get this whole crew and do this whole, friggin' rigmarole, do a $45,000, $50,000 rehab, it's much easier just to paint and carpet house. It's what every flipper's dream is looking for. And that was that house. It didn't need much at all. The bathrooms were okay. The kitchen was okay. Didn't need a major rehab. So not only did I, stay in the deal the next day, I was fucking doing backflips. And, at the time I was 300 pounds. Picture that. Big old belly flopping over. Anyway. So yeah, I remember that house. Once again, I remember it's up off of University Boulevard, good section, 32211 Arlington. And I sold it to a lady whose mom lived close by, that type of thing. We had some problems. You always have friggin' problems, right? Selling, the title work, something, the inspection. I forget what the issue was, but there was issues with that property. And the lady, the buyer, was like, "No, I want to live there. I want to buy the house. I want to buy the house." So she hung in there. And I made good money, not great money, because whenever you do lipstick on a pig, once again, it's a small budget. I maybe only put $5,000 into it, so I didn't make 40, 50,000 on that one. But that's okay. I didn't put that much in, and normally they're quick too. You're selling under market price. That one I sold at market price retail. And so, whatever I made, I don't know, 20,000, something like that, but just $20,000, dude. That's not bad money. You know what I mean? I wasn't crying on my way to the bank. So, yeah, lipstick on a pig, wholesaling, basically buy cheap, fix up cheap, not everything, and then sell less than ARV, less than retail, and it should sell quickly, which is a benefit. That's really what I swung my model to toward the end there. And, Bob with his VIP list, and I bought a house sight unseen from him, and that's all about trust, right? But he trusted me to close, and I trusted him that the house wasn't a teardown, right? Because I bought it sight unseen. But I was talking about opportunity, and that's what came up into my head, because I had the knowledge. I had been flipping. I knew Bob. I knew how to flip a house, and like I said, unless things were seriously wrong with it, foundation issues or something like that, I knew enough to be able to pull the trigger instantly, and that's what it took. Now, that was years ago. The market's worse now, worse in the perspective that it's super hot. It's a seller's market. There's not enough inventory, so you've got to pull the trigger. You have got to act when you find a house and lock it up and get it under contract. And I was doing that 4 years ago. Now, you need to be doing that. You have to do that in this market, absolutely, or sit on the sideline and wish. You know what I mean? So, yeah, have the knowledge base already, and then you do your due diligence, but do it quickly and act just as quickly. So that's, once again, real life example of what they're talking about in the book. It worked. I flipped the house. I made money. Bob sold another house, one of the friggin' 40 that year or whatever he sold. I don't know how many numbers he did that year, but he's very successful, a wholesaler. He has a home investor franchise. Ugg buys ugly houses. And actually, after that, he started flipping and kind of doing lipstick on a pig. So more power to him, man. There's plenty to go around. I never once said, "Oh, you're stealing my thing." No, dude, it's not my thing. That's just the way I chose to make money, was lipstick on a pig. Bob saw what I did with that house, that I barely put anything into it, and sold it fairly quickly. Like I said, there were some title issues, but he was like, "Well, shit, I could have made another 20 grand just holding on to that place." Yeah, you could have. And unlike most wholesalers who are scraping and starting out and don't have the money to do the deal, but Bob had the money to do the deal. He was on my millionaire panel when I did the real estate millionaires. Bob was one of the panelists. So yeah, he had the money. He had the means, the financial means, to go in there with the crew and do it himself. And he did. He did that with some of the houses he got in the future. He kept wholesaling, but he also did some light flipping like that, lipstick on a pig. Great guy. Still talk to him. I talked to him about 2 weeks ago. Like I said, he was a private lender for me on one deal, big deal. And he's just awesome people. And that's the thing I miss. And people ask me all the time, do you miss America? No. Love America, serve my country, 30 years. I was a patriot if there ever was one. But what I miss is the people. I miss the Bob Sargents, the Merrills, my friends. That I'll probably always miss that, but that's the price I pay for living in paradise, right? Sipping my mango drink and chilling here, is I don't get to hang out with some really cool people that I met over the years. And it's okay. I'm old enough and mature enough to understand that there's always a price to pay. That's the price I pay, is I don't get to hang with my friends anymore. I love it here. It's worth it. You got to sacrifice something. I'm sacrificing, hanging out with my friends. All right. Be good, guys. Talk to you later.